Good afternoon. I call to order the November 15 special meeting of the University of Minnesota Board of Regents. I would like to thank everyone joining us in the boardroom and via live stream. We also have several regents who are joining us virtually. Our only item today is to review and act on the appointment and the employment agreement for the new Vice President of Communications, Chris Gaudet. President Cunningham, would you like to share an overview of the employment agreement?
Thank you, Chair Mayron. I would like to just now reiterate how incredibly important this role is to our future success and growth as a university system. We're operating now in a rapidly evolving, interconnected world, and communications or marketing are not just beneficial, they are absolutely essential. They serve as the primary bridge between our university and our internal community, as well as the broader community across the state, nation, and world, giving us a powerful platform to share our story, our values, and our vision for the future. Chris Gaudet is a highly experienced communications and marketing executive who has worked at large nonprofit organizations with strong public education and research missions. I'm confident that Chris will elevate our communications and marketing efforts to even greater heights. He has the experience and commitment to excellence required to address our immediate communications and marketing needs, to envision our bright future with us, and to help our university system thrive. There was a ton of work that led us to this stage today, and so I also want to thank our search committee for their time and service, especially our co-chairs, Lisa Lewis and Melissa Lopez-Franzen, for their leadership, and I would like to extend my gratitude to our interim co-directors, Chuck Tombridge and Ann Aronson, for their tremendous service during this transition period.
Thank you, President Cunningham. Before we turn to any questions and any discussion by my fellow regents, is there a motion to approve the appointment and employment agreement of Chris Gaudet as Vice President for Communications?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Regent Ruth Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Mayron. I jotted down a few notes that I'd like to share with people. Because I actually know, I actually know Chris Gaudet. I know him both professionally from his work at Mayo and also personally from his presence in the Rochester community. He's served at Mayo Clinic in this role and was a leader for 32 years, and I have been there all of those 32 years. So I just want to mention a couple of things why I think he would be really excellent, and the background he brings would be so helpful at the university. One of the things he was deeply involved with at Mayo and helped lead was the Minnesota Partnership for Biotechnology and Medical Genomics. He earned basically funding to support the Destination Medical Center in Rochester. The collaborators of that program are the Mayo Clinic, the University of Minnesota, and the state of Minnesota. And it's helped position Minnesota as a world leader in both biotechnology and medical genomics. And he did this with his skills at being assertive, comprehensive, communications with all the stakeholders, and the formation of strategy. The Destination Medical Center is a 20-year, $5.6 billion economic development, and this got passed the Minnesota legislature on his first pass. So I think that was an excellent example of some of the work he'd done. I think another thing I'd like to underscore is kind of the idea of systemness. And again, we're looking at this as very important to what we're doing. And I know within a year, this is going to be something we're working for with the systems of the different campuses of the University of Minnesota. And I think Chris is experienced, skilled, and enthused about those kinds of things. He played a very key role in the creation of another entire health system, sort of led through Rochester, but a complex and challenging one indeed. So at a critical time in healthcare delivery and looking at what's going on in the state and access to care, Mayo began to work with and partner and be involved with a large number of hospitals and clinics in southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, and in Wisconsin. And it's interesting because, of course, these clinics are disparate. They had different systems, different financial cultures and philosophies, different forms of physician compensation and so on. But he was a leader who worked again in strategy and communications and really helped make this happen. So we have there 16 hospitals, 45 clinics, and a mobile clinic, and basically helping integrate what are intrinsic values at Mayo with intrinsic values at medicine and focus on what's the best healthcare for the patients. So Mayo brought kind of an integrated model, practice, education, research, and to provide good and excellent care for patients closer to their homes so they could do that, which is very important to people, and also access to Mayo if higher level of intervention was needed medically. I think he relishes working with kind of systemness, and I think in our context here, he would do an excellent job as we move forward in that area. And I guess the other thing is just say, why might he, I think he might be interested in the challenges that the University of Minnesota has in its communication leadership. Again, its complexity, the system, things at work. I think he loves doing that kind of work. And then also it's part of his own value system. So he, loves the land grant mission concept of what the university is involved, use commitment to useful practical education for the good folks of Minnesota and beyond, service to society, and that resonates deeply with him and his own lived values. He grew up in a rural area. He's the first generation in his family to go to a four-year college. And so I think he really loves this challenge. I think personally, he's greatly benefited from a cohort experience here also at the University of Minnesota's Humphrey School. He was involved in that, and that's great because he gives him a good, strong sense of what we're doing here that's really outstanding as well. So I think he's experienced, as many of us have, that his own education has helped to, provide him with amazing opportunities, and he's highly motivated to contribute to help the University of Minnesota continue opening doors of education to Minnesotans, to national and international students. And I see him as a really excellent fit, both in terms of skills, experience, and values for this position. And I think he would do a fantastic job for the University of Minnesota.
Thank you, Regent Johnson. Any other questions or comments by any of the regents, either here at the Horseshoe or on the screen? All right, hearing none, seeing none. We are going to be doing a roll call because of the number of individuals who are appearing via live stream. So Executive Director Steves, if you would like to do that. The question is, we will be asking you, all those in favor of approving the appointment and employment agreement of Chris Gade as the Vice President of Communications. If you, those of you who agree, as you go through the roll call, please say aye, otherwise say no or abstain. Thank you.
On the motion, Regent Davenport.
Yes.
Regent Davenport votes yes. Regent Farnsworth.
Yes.
Regent Farnsworth votes yes. Regent Gully.
Yes.
Regent Gully votes yes. Regent Hipsch.
Yes.
Regent Hipsch votes yes. Regent Ruth Johnson.
Yes.
Regent Ruth Johnson votes yes. Regent Tad Johnson.
Yes.
Regent Tad Johnson votes yes. Regent Kenyanya.
Yes.
Regent Kenyanya votes yes. Regent Tayurabe.
Yes.
Regent Tayurabe votes yes. Regent Turner is absent. Regent Verhalen.
Yes.
Regent Verhalen votes yes. Regent Wheeler.
Yes.
Regent Wheeler votes yes. Chair Mayron.
Yes.
Chair Mayron votes yes.
The motion passes, 11 in favor, 0 noes, and 1 absent. That concludes our meeting today. As there is no additional business before the board, this special meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.